welcome to day 9 of the new Us. This is a course which is very free-flowing. It's a course that is designed on 21 days, and the idea is that at the end of the course we're way closer to the new version of ourselves that we have envisioned for ourselves. We did the intention setting on day 1. We tried figuring out what is the new version, what is the new me that I want to be. Each one of us wants to be, and we're hoping that every day through these lessons and through these teachings, which mostly come from week 1 has been mostly from lots of spiritual teachers. So hoping that these generalized lessons give us give each individual a very individualized plan as to what to do in order to be closer to the version of themselves, up to the version of, the envisioned version of the new us. So we're talking about self-compassion today. And I think in this day and age, in these times, if we need something, is a lot of compassion. For others, for ourselves, we're going to focus about ourselves today. Because in times like this, when things are not going right, in times like this, when we're not very sure about a lot of things. We're not very sure about how you and I will be feeling tomorrow in terms of our health. We're not very sure about our finances in terms of our jobs. We're not very sure of our children going back to school in terms of everything that's happening with the schools. In such uncertain and volatile times, we can get very harsh with ourselves. We can get very, very anxious. The fear can actually paralyze us. And in paralyzing us, the fear can make us very agitated, very irritated, very hard on us. We can be very hard on ourselves. We can be very, very ruthless when it comes to ourselves, right? If, for example, you are the bread earner of the family, for example, mostly in our society, there's one person who works, who gets in the money, and the other family is financially dependent on that person. Now, if that person loses a job, if that person has a fear of losing his or her job, in that situation, and especially if the family doesn't cooperate, in that situation you can be very, very hard on yourself, right? You can think that maybe it was your fault. Maybe it was your fault that you chose maybe a non-tech career instead of a tech career, if techies in your company are still being saved, So we can go through all these emotions, and we can have all these thoughts. So today we're talking about self-compassion. It is as important as compassion for anybody else is important, and it's pretty much practiced the same way as you'd practice compassion with others. In a very similar way, you'd practice compassion for yourself. What is the first step? The first step needs to be that you notice it. For example, if you're going on the road and if there was a beggar who's being mistreated by somebody else on the road, and if you don't notice it, you'd never be able to empathize with that beggar, or you'd never be able to stop your car and go and do something for him or her. You'd never be able to take the next step if you just don't notice it, right? So the first step needs to be that you notice there's something wrong, that you notice that this isn't the way it's supposed to be. You acknowledge it and you notice that there's something happening. आपको लग रहा होगा कि कैसी बात है, notice तो आप करते ही हैं. But many of us are so, many of us maybe are so, what is the right word? Maybe our minds are so occupied that at times we pass by things and we don't even notice them. Or maybe we've seen so much of the ill that we pass by them, we pass through it, and we think, oh, it's not a big deal, right? या तो इतनी चीज़ें बुरी होते हुए देख ली हैं कि अगर एक दो चीज़ें बुरी हो रही होती हैं तो वो बिग डील ही नहीं लगती, या हम इतने मेंटली ऑक्यूपाइड हैं कि हम उससे गुजर जाते हैं और हमें पता ही नहीं होता कि क्या हो गया, क्या हमारे इर्द गिर्द में क्या चीज़ें हो गई. So the first step needs to be, if it's compassion for somebody else or compassion for yourself, the first step needs to be that you notice it. You notice there is something which is not right. So दूसरे के केस में करना आसान, फिर भी समझ आ जाती है कि अच्छा ठीक है, उधर गरीब के साथ नाइंसाफी हो रही है, so I need to notice it. या किसी और के साथ कुछ गलत हो रहा है, I need to notice it. कोई भूख की वजह से सो नहीं पा रहा, I need to notice it. But how do you notice it with yourself? Exactly in the same way, exactly in the same manner. You notice that there is something, for example, we just spoke about the job loss, right? So you notice that there's something unfair which has happened to you. You notice that there's something which was not anticipated and is not very positive that has happened to you. You notice, you acknowledge that, you know, Asma, you are going through this difficult time. You are going through these challenging times. Many of us approach it by saying, okay, we need to put a brave face. Okay, we can't. I am the head of the family, and I can't be weak at this time. I need to put a brave face, and I'm not going to acknowledge that anything that is happening right now is, you know, something which is devastating. Or you think that, you know, you can go in the self-pity phase where you say that, oh my God, you know, why did it happen to me? Why did it not happen to the 50 others who are working in the organization? So na self pity mein jana hai, compassion self pity se badhkar hai, na phir is na riyaz. I've read it and I'll just talk about this. So na hi self pity mein jana hai, ना ही उस एरोगेंस में जाना है कि किसी को पता ना चले कि मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है. द फर्स्ट स्टेप सेज नोटिस दैट यू आर सफरिंग. इन केस ऑफ somebody else, like we notice someone else is suffering, in our case we need to notice that I am suffering. What do you do next? What do you do once you've noticed it? You feel, right? You feel moved by someone suffering. जब आपने उस भिखारी के साथ कुछ नाइंसाफी होते हुए देखी, why did you stop the car? Why did you think I should go and help that person out? Because you were moved. You noticed something and you felt moved enough to stop your car and move out of the car, moved enough to go and have a conversation with that person, right? So there was a movement which came after you felt what the other person would be feeling, or after you felt the injustice, after you felt something. So after you've noticed that there's something wrong, or somebody is suffering, or I am suffering, you feel moved enough to take an action about it. You feel what you gotta feel, and you offer your understanding and you offer your kindness to the other person. When it comes to you, you take a similar route, right? If you've made a mistake, and the mistake turned out to be a blunder, and you know you are facing the consequences of that mistake, you can't go back and fix that mistake, right? If that's the situation, that you can't go back and erase it completely. If you have to, if you think that you know you've done what you've got to do, what you had to do, this is the time to practice self-compassion. Self-compassion says, okay, notice that you made a mistake. Notice the mistake turned into a blunder. Notice you don't feel good about it. Notice how are you feeling. Offer yourself understanding and kindness. Move away from judgment, okay? Just don't pass any judgment. Offer kindness, offer understanding. Try and see whatever mistake that has happened, whatever failure whichever failure that you had gone through, try and empathize with yourself. That's what you do when you feel moved. So the first step is notice that you are suffering. The second step is that you feel moved and do something. And what would you do? For yourself, you would offer your kindness. You would offer your understanding. Remember, it is not self-pity, okay? Self-pity is the lower level, and you rise above the self-pity to offer kindness and understanding. What is the third step? The third step here which says, so notice, feel, and the third step says share. So like in case of offering compassion to other people, what do? We see, okay, you know, there was something which was not right. I think somebody is suffering. You stopped the car, you walked out of the car, you offered your understanding, you offered your kindness, and then you see it as a shared experience. You see it as an experience that many others go through. You see it as an experience that maybe some of it you've been through, but you understand that this is not happening in isolation. You know, when we talk about the COVID, we say, maybe one thing which is slightly better about it is, which is not better, but from a compassionate angle, is that everybody is going through it. When I talk about the effects that it's having on my personality, I say, you know what, a lot of times to uplift myself, I tell myself, Asma, you're not the only one. The world is suffering. We're in this together. So being in this together helps me to push myself again, you know, to pull myself up once again. So the third step says, once you've noticed, once you felt, you look at it as a shared experience. You look at it, which is not something you're going through in isolation. This is something that we're all sharing. This is when you rise above the self-pity and you're offering compassion, and you look that, you know, so many of so many others are going through the same, because no matter COVID times or no COVID times, whatever you've been, whatever falls you have in life, whatever dips you get in your lifetime, you're not the only one to face those dips, right? Whether it's a financial crunch, or it's a relationship not going right, or it's some issue with the kids, or it's a health issue. Most cases, whatever you and I will go through or have been through, many others in the world have also gone through that, right? We have not been the only ones, and we will not be the only ones. So the fact that it's a shared experience puts it in perspective, because a lot of times we have a tendency to exaggerate, right? To exaggerate that, oh my God, this is happening to me. When you exaggerate that, you see which hole I'm going in. I'm going in the self-pity hole. I'm going in that deep, deep, deep valley where I think this is only happening to me, and I am the chosen one by God, just because you wanted to teach me a lesson, and this and that and this and that. When you look at yourself in isolation, chances are that you will slide into self-pity with a lot more speed. When you look at it as you sharing that experience with a lot of people in the world, and many people have gone through it, you don't exaggerate your experience, your emotions. When we talk about emotions, the idea is not to suppress them, but the idea is also not to exaggerate them, right? We don't want to blow it out of proportion, and we don't want to just brush it under the carpet. We want to feel the emotion with the intensity that it is supposed to be felt, right? And that is what brings us to the last point, which says being mindful. Okay, being mindful is exactly this. It talks about the fact that mindfulness is what? That your mind is full of the current moment. You can allow yourself to experience the thoughts as they come in, to experience the emotions as they come in and as they go out, and to experience the thoughts as they are, to experience the emotions as they are. This is what is happening to me right now. This thought is coming to my mind right now, and this thought is going away. I was thinking about this, and now I'm thinking about this. To be very aware of where you are, to be very aware, I'm trying to make it as simplified as possible, but to be very, very aware of what are you thinking and what are you feeling. We all know that there's a huge part of the subconsciousness, which we'll inshallah cover tomorrow, which has recorded a lot of things, and which doesn't let us receive any new experience without prior judgment. Every information right now, as I'm talking, many of us would be filtering information, and many of us, we have different filters on. These are filters that we've had for a long, long time, right? These generally till the age of 7 or 8, a lot of the filters are already built in, and those filters impact us all our life by telling us, hey, you gotta take this in, but reject this thought immediately. So mindfulness offers us that, so maybe it's also a way to rewire, maybe it's also a way to rewire as to what all that has happened, all the wiring that has taken place in the subconsciousness. So mindfulness is that being mindful of what is happening with you. When we are being mindful, we will give the emotion the credit that it requires. We will not exaggerate it, we will not brush it under the carpet, but we will feel it for what it is worth, right? And especially when it's connected to the earlier point, which is that we share it with so much of humanity. We are not diving in self-pity. We are understanding that this has happened to a lot of other people. This is happening to me. Everybody can have their different circumstances, hence the impact could be different. But understanding that it's a shared experience and being mindful for what it is. Not exaggerating it, but being mindful of what it is and letting only that bit impact you, which is required for an impact enough for you to move forward. Not exaggerating it so much that the impact is so much that it paralyzes you and it pauses you. So that was our conversation for today, that we need to practice compassion for ourselves as much as we practice it, or we feel it, or we offer it for other people. And exactly the same way as we do it for others, we do it for ourselves. We notice that there is some suffering going on, we feel moved, and when we feel moved, we offer our understanding and our kindness. You offer yourself that, Asma, you're going through a tough time. You not only say this loudly, but you really, really feel it in your heart, and allow yourself that non-judgmental view where you tell yourself, Asma, I hear you, I understand you, and this is a really tough time that you're going through. Acknowledge what you're going through. Understand that it's part of the shared experience, and be mindful of everything that's coming in your mind, all the emotion that is going within you and going out of you. I hope you found the conversation helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to type them, because we had somebody asking us something and I said that I will read it. Where did that go? Okay, yeah. So it says, I don't know why I am getting so angry. Please help me. So Isna Riaz. Okay. So see, a lot of us. I wish Instagram Live had a raise of hands, because if there was a raise of hands, many of us will tell you that are you getting more frustrated? Hell yes. Are you getting more irritated? Oh yeah. Are you getting more angry? Of course yes. It's a very difficult time, right? It's a very difficult time. It's a challenging time. I don't know what challenges you're facing. You'd be able to answer that best. I mean, is there a change of routine? Probably, but is there a change of routine that you're going through? Anything in that change of routine that is bothering you? So ask yourself, do the self-inquiry that we've spoken about so much in the earlier sessions, but get into that self-inquiry. Maybe sit down for 10 minutes quietly, silently, and figure out that, every time you've gotten angry, every time you've screamed or shouted, I don't know what's your channel of how you channelize your anger, but chances are if it's bothering you, it's one of these ways, right? Every time you've screamed or shouted or done something that you haven't liked, as a way of expressing your anger, what has been the trigger? Is it the child every time? Is it the husband every time? What has been the trigger? What's triggering those emotions within you? Because if we don't know the core, it's difficult to understand and really solve the issue, which is the superficial issue. So find out, self-inquiry, and it happens best in silence. Give yourself those 10 minutes, maybe lock yourself in the bathroom if you think there is no other time, but go deep in yourself and find out, why am I getting so angry? What is the trigger? What is the trigger? What does the trigger tell me? Do this questioning with you, and once you reach the core, there's no point of anybody telling you, don't scream, don't shout, it's very bad, it's not good for the child's health, unless you get to the core. The superficial issue, the surface issue, I said it wrong, is not going to go away anywhere. Majority don't share their feelings, Farooq says, and that's okay, Farooq, to each their own, as long as you're acknowledging it for yourself. Is there any exercise for being mindful? I saw Muzaffar here. I don't know if he's still here, but Muzaffar, if you're still here, maybe you can talk about the meditation and the meditative route. But of course, I think if you want to discover it, there are so many people who are doing meditations every day live for free. Jay Shetty is one. He was on a 21-day meditative course. I don't know if it's still going on. I think it is. So go check it out. It happens every day sometime. So I think meditation is a fantastic, fabulous way, and I have been a recent fan of it. I haven't been into meditation, but I've seen the benefits that one can reap. Shouting, yes. You're saying shouting, yes. I don't know if you're answering me or maybe it's in continuation of what you had written. Ma'am, change the background. We want a class in a different background. You took a class in a different background, Asim. Sikandar says, huge fan. Tizu says, I think religiously we're very strong about being compassionate to ourselves, but as an individual, I fail to understand when to speak and what to speak about or what to notice. So it's not about speaking as much as feeling. So if you notice it and if you feel it, right, if you understand what is it that you're feeling, I've talked about emotional literacy a lot of times. Understand what you're feeling, educate yourself on emotional intelligence, educate yourself on the gazillion emotions which are there. If we don't know them, it's difficult for us to feel them. So know them so that you can understand what you're feeling, and if you feel it right soon, I mean this takes time, right? It's not going to be an overnight process, not going to be an overnight thing, it's going to be a journey. So the journey says first you notice it, then you feel it, and then you take an action about it, right? Then you do something else about it. because we've always been taught हर छोटी छोटी बात पे point ना बनाया करो. Okay. Sikandar says huge fan. Sikandar, happiness mantra was the best one. What was the happiness mantra, Sikandar? I'm thinking. Maybe you're talking about that video, the meaning versus happiness. Maybe you're talking about that. I tend to forget a lot of things that I've said. So thank you for joining us, guys. I think you were pretty on point. Self-compassion is the state of loving and acknowledging your emotions, which we often overlook. Absolutely. Saira says, what is happiness mantra? I think it's one of my videos on YouTube that he's referring to. It's on my Facebook as well. I think it is called happiness mantra. Yes, it is that, the happiness versus meaning. You can find it on Facebook or on YouTube. Guys, the group for these classes is up. It's called New Us. If you want to join it and share your thoughts, please do so. The question that I'm leaving you today with is, when you reflect on your journey, what are the moments where you think you should have practiced self-compassion? What are the moments, what are the experiences maybe that you walked out of feeling very, very tired, feeling very bruised, being very wounded? And if you think that had you practiced self-compassion a bit more, or had you practiced self-compassion at all, you would have walked out as a winner, as compared to whoever you walked out as. So think about those experiences. कौन से आपकी ज़िंदगी के तजुर्बात ऐसे रहे जहाँ आपको लगता है कि अगर आपने सेल्फ कंपैशन प्रैक्टिस किया होता तो आप ज़रा जीत के बाहर निकलते, as compared to जिस स्टेट में आप बाहर निकले. You're welcome to share your answers on the group, the New Us. It's not the New Us, it's only New Us. It's on Facebook. You can send a request and we will accept it, and you can be part of that group. It's specifically for a very limited audience for these 21 days that we're doing the course together. Of course, the group can carry on, but we've designed it for only these 21 days. So I see it every night, I answer, I look at it, I give the answers. If there's anybody who needs personal help, I'll try and give that as well. So you're welcome to do that. Starting Friday, I am going to be doing the weekend series apart from this New Us. So this New Us goes on, right, till the 21 days as we've promised. But starting Friday, I'm doing Lost Our Jobs to Find Our Joys. These are interview series. I assume the interview is going to take longer than 30 minutes, but interview series with my favorite women Instagrammers, the Instagram women that I follow, who I think offer a little more than the beauty, than the surface beauty. I think women who don't not only offer the surface, the beauty of what we can see, but there is a lot of beauty within them. So Friday and Saturday. Friday, we're going to be doing it at 8 p.m. The timings won't be fixed because some of them are joining me from different parts of the world. Friday, 8 p.m., we will have the Story of Style lady, who is Hina J. Chima, currently based in Dallas. So that's the time that we could manage. So 8 p.m. on Friday on Instagram Live. And 11 p.m. Saturday night, we will have Mavish joining us from, where does she live now? Holland. Joining us from Holland. So do join. If you're women, I would think your inclination to join it would be more. If you're into Instagram, if you're into social media, because they'll be talking about their journey, their personal journey, and also what you need to do if you need to make a mark on the Instagram world. Both of them are doing fantastic. They are success stories when it comes to Instagram. So we'll be chatting with them. So keep an eye on that, and I will, inshallah ta'ala, see you guys tomorrow. Can we see that interview? Yes, it happens this Friday, May 8th it starts. Thank you guys. I will inshallah ta'ala see you all tomorrow evening with another topic which will hopefully disturb us a little, confuse us a little, and give us meat to come closer to the new version of ourselves. Till then, look after yourself, take care, be good, be healthy, be safe, have a good sehri, have an even better roza, have a fantastic iftar tomorrow, and see me with your cup of chai tomorrow evening. Till then, Khuda Hafiz.